Raisin Man Arena.
One,
the
two,
picture
three.
with me
One,
and-
two, three.
you and
One,
my
two,
girly
three.
friend.
One, two, three.
Cute.
1, 2, 3. Can I get a 1, 2, 3 from
1,
you
2,
guys?
3. 1, 2, 3.
I can't hear you, Sarah. Is
1,
your
2.
microphone on?
How can you hear her over the music?
Let me see.
1, 2, 3. 1,
Great.
2, 3. 1,
Great.
2, 3.
Great. Okay.
Isn't this a cute picture?
It is extremely cute. Two people that you love just so much.
Two of my most important people.
Well, you're sworn to protect.
Sworn to protect, and they're together.
Yeah.
To protect and serve.
So you can keep an eye on them.
That's right.
Oh shit! Wait, don't be on your phone because we're doing.
I saw a
this
TikTok
episode.
today. Do you see that girl that gives advice, dating advice? She's like, for the guys, I'm going to give you some advice. And she said, here's a red flag. If you're a girl, if you bring her around your boys and she's laughing at everything they say, she's a pick-me. And she goes, when I'm around my man's friends, I zip it up. Nothing's funny. She said, nothing's funny.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
That's so
Wow.
sad.
Well, I want
to
to address this first. Worm Body, first time chatter, is jumping in the chat to say, I don't hear anything.
Oh, shit.
And he just missed. We did a little good intro that felt very organic. Hear nothing. Jesus. Okay, you're going to have to dial that intro in back again just the way you did it before.
Did people on the podcast hear it, or
Wait, yeah. People in the podcast did hear it. Can you guys hear me now?
but no one in the live stream? can?
Worm Body.
God damn it.
Worm
This is
Body.
Awesome. I love starting the podcast.
Oh my
Worm
God.
Body.
Every time.
Can you hear me?
It was in for a second.
Hand
then,
Puppet Mafia.
Then back
Hand Puppet
up.
Mafia. Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear us?
DJ Oily. It's Sarah. Can you hear me?
Wait, okay. Fuck!
Worm Body. Hand Puppet Mafia. DJ Oily. Come
If you're
on.
listening on the podcast, go ahead and skip 15 seconds.
Oh my God.
And if
Hello.
we're still
Time
talking
warp.
about this, skip another 15
Worm Body.
seconds.
Wait.
People like this.
How
part.
is
That's
this?
a fun part of the
How
show.
is it now? You guys can hear us. You guys
Worm
can hear
Body.
us. You guys can hear us.
Worm Body. Can you hear us?
You
Hand
guys
Puppet
can.
Mafia.
I know you can. I know you
Hand
can.
Puppet Mafia. Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
I want to get a yes from everybody who
Slackers.
said I couldn't hear
DJ
you. I want to get a
Oily, Luke
yes.
Strickler,
Yes.
Worm Body.
Yes. Yes.
And-
yes.
and another
yes.
thing.
Yes. Yes.
R is the sound synced
woo.
with the image. Tell me it is.
I think it is because I'm even seeing the video is synced with real life.
Wait,
Look
is
at
it-
this.
No, it's not. It's
Oh,
like
I'm just moving my hands so rapidly I can't even keep track.
You're looping.
Yeah.
You're looping.
You're right. I got stuck in a loop.
okay. Okay, sync is good. Great.
What's
I did a whole process. Anyways, but so let me just say what I was saying.
We got Slackus.
So I saw this girl on TikTok and she said, if your girl laughs when she's around your friends, if she
Your
laughs
boys.
around your boys, if she laughs at all their jokes, she's a pick me, and that's a red flag. She goes, when I'm around my man's friends, I zip it up. Nothing's funny. That's what she said. What do you think about that?
Why is it bad for a boy to have a girlfriend who's a pick me?
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, let's get the questions up together and then we can discuss them. Let's get
Yeah.
all the different
Okay.
questions that we have about this.
Yeah.
Why are you going to TikTok for dating advice?
I am not going to TikTok for dating advice. There's a girl who's very cute on TikTok and she gives dating advice.
Okay.
I like her.
And he
Okay.
wanted a girl
I
like
think-
that. So, yeah.
I have a take already. No, I don't have a question.
All right, he's
so.
got to take fresh. Go.
So I think that it's sad that you wouldn't be able to laugh at any of your friends' jokes.
I feel the same way.
That it makes me sad. Yeah,
Because I think of your girlfriend, Sam, and she's always laughing with us.
she's always
and,
laughing,
and that's not a red flag to me.
particularly
If
at
she-
your jokes.
That's
wow.
right.
If she wasn't laughing at your jokes, it would be a red flag.
I'd be mad. I'd be like, we don't vibe.
What's
Well,
yeah?
the problem is when your boy brings their girlfriend around, you immediately become the funniest version of yourself because the stakes are completely low for you.
Yeah, when you're a third wheel.
When you're a third
the f-
wheel, it's
yeah.
the funniest position to be in. So you can only get W's, and as the
Because
boyfriend,
there's nothing funnier than a sexless man.
I think that you can be a little sexy as a third wheel.
Absolutely, because
Yeah.
it's your forbidden.
I'm thinking of
Ooh.
those
You're
tweets.
forbidden.
Wait, so
love.
you're confirming what she's saying. You're forbidden. You're being funny. Your girl is like,
But that's why it's okay. It's a benign
it's a benign
violation.
flirtation. I see.
Yes.
So you were saying, what's the problem with your girl being a pick me?
A pick me is annoying to other girls and marginalized people.
Right.
So if you're in the master
Because you're
class
someone
here,
you're someone who wants to be
who wants you picked by
Yes.
the boys, then who cares if your girlfriend's a pick me? You're the boyfriend. You don't care. You got to
Right.
pick me, girl.
unless you're a real feminist.
Yes, unless you're a real feminist and you're perceiving how other women are being made to feel by this person's
Mhm.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, women have been trained to laugh all the time at things men say because we live in a patriarchal
It keeps them
society.
safe.
Yes, and it keeps them safe, and it keeps people from not hurting them. You know.
Interesting. Every time I hear the word pick me, I think of the little aliens from Toy Story who go, the claw.
Yeah.
Those guys.
Yeah, they have pick me vibe.
They have pick me vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, welcome to Raisin Man Arena. It's honestly, who the fuck cares what day it is?
It's election day.
Oh, it is
and
actually.
We're here with an
Wow.
election day special. We'll be on all night as the results come in and the polls are closing.
I'll tell you who's a pick me. All the damn people running for office today. Yup.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Vote
And-
for me. Vote
and
for
we
me.
picked
Shut
folks-
the fuck up.
We picked people in the Workers' Party all down the list. That's what Will said.
Not the workers. The working
Working
families.
Families
Working
Party.
Families
I,
Party.
I
Real
wish it
for
was a
real.
workers' party, Sam. It's not a workers'
it's
party.
a working. It's even better. It's a working family.
Yeah.
And
And we as people who don't have families
I
still
don't,
have to,
I don't have a family and I don't work.
still have to vote for that. Yeah.
yeah, I got a text from Will this morning. He said, "Vote working families all down the ticket. Vote yes on all the ballots." And I said, "Thanks, Will." And then I flicked a coin at him, and he caught it. And it
One
was
of-
a
I
little
read
tip
one
for
of-
the day.
So he told me to vote yes, and I said, okay, I don't even need to read the ballot measures. I'm just fluoridated stare, go in, do what I'm told. But then I was like, I'm kind of curious about what these ballot measures are. I didn't even read them all. I only read 2. And one of them was like to add a preamble to, I believe, the New York Constitution? Law
Okay.
code? Just, it was literally about adding language at the beginning of some
Making it
text.
Yeah.
longer.
And
And
having
Will loves language.
that
if
guy
you read his
loved more-
Twitter,
That guy
Yes.
loves to read.
he loves words.
And it's like adding language that says that, you know, we're committed to a more equitable or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's add the language. I don't see what difference that's going to make, but
Mhm.
you know, we can add some
That's
a little
interesting.
preamble.
Yeah, so you just think that you and Will are aligned enough that you can just take his opinion without doing your own research?
Will knows way more about politics than me. He's way more involved. Anything he tells me, I'm just going to do it.
Yeah. Well, what the problem is you.
City charter,
if
city
you
charter.
If you read all the stuff and all the ballots, you're there for 20, 30 damn minutes. Talk about language. There's a lot there. And that gym is hot. You know, you want, and you came with your coat on, and you want to get out of the hot gym as quickly
Yeah.
as possible. So I do everything I can to shorten the amount of time I'm spend doing my civic duty. And if it means doing everything that Will says, so be it.
Yeah.
So be it.
I went to the Met today. Listen to this.
To vote?
No. But it turns out the Met is also a polling place. Some people get to go to the Met to vote.
Really?
Wow.
Is it near
Kinda
the
sweet.
paintings or is it like
You
in the
vote
lobby?
right
I
in
think it's
front
in
of a
some
Jeff
weird
Koons.
little closet, but yeah, it would be cool if it was in the
Next to
Temple
the
of
Rembrandt.
Dender. You get to go inside the ancient Egyptian walk-in temple and cast your vote in the middle.
I shouldn't
Yeah.
have said Jeff Koons. I was thinking of MoMA,
Oh,
but the
Ah.
Met is
Same.
different.
Is Jeff Koons at the
MoMA.
Met? I don't think
Probably
so.
not. No.
no, all the stuff at the Met is old.
It's old stuff.
No, they got some modern art in there.
Where?
They have a modern
Up
art
the
wing.
stairs?
I don't know if how
To
contemporary.
the left?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go that way, so.
If you're in the Met, go upstairs and go to
I
the
went
left.
to the right.
Did you?
I went to the right.
So you went to the Met.
I went to the Met.
What's up with that? What's new? What's the cool there?
I'd never been before. Listen to this. I'd seen it on TV. I'd seen it in
You
movies.
had never been to the Met.
I'd never been to the Met. Cause I mean, what? When do you guys go to the Met on a date?
yeah,
Yes.
on a date.
And that's why I was.
In fact, I went on a date recently to the Met.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, and that's why I was there. I went with Leo.
What's that beeping noise?
It's the rice maker. It'll stop soon.
Mm.
Wow, so it makes the room smell like shit and it beeps.
I like the smell. It's very comforting.
Yeah, me
It
too.
reminds me of my childhood, eating like rice with a little butter on it.
That's
I mean,
right,
that just
that's
makes you
right.
feel
And
so
a little
cozy.
ketchup.
Yeah, a
My
little
sister used
ketchup.
to put ketchup
I don't
on
know
it.
if I have
Little
like
salt?
I don't know if this is like a long COVID thing, but it smells like BO to me.
Really, that's not right.
It just has
That's
this
not
like
right.
BO smell.
Wow.
Mm.
Sorry. So you
the
had
Met,
gone-
you really gotta get yourself in a mindset when you're seeing a bunch of like really old art. You're like, all right, I gotta find a way to kind of get myself into caring about old pots and ceramics and jewelry boxes.
Well, if you are in the ceramics wing of the museum, you're already swimming up Schitt's Creek because that is the most boring
Yeah.
part. Seeing the clay
the
pots.
furniture
Yeah.
section.
the furniture, the rooms.
Oh my!
I
kill
like the
me.
furniture
I like
section.
the rooms. Yeah.
Actually, did you go to the armor section?
I went to the armor
That
section.
is like Dark Souls.
That
That's like the
goes-
video game Dark
yeah.
Souls.
That's the funnest
Yeah.
part. But the pottery, man, that is.
You really
ooh,
gotta be
you're
like
playing on hard.
Yeah, you have to get into this mindset. So I don't know if you guys ever did this when you go to a museum and there's something really old and you have to like really stand there and concentrate on like, okay, so this was here 300 BC, so that's like 2,300 years ago,
Right,
and
right.
a woman would have had this in her house,
Yes.
Totally.
and she's making something to eat for
Totally.
her
Or-
family.
Or you're trying to envision a person 3,000 years ago touching it with their hands, and you're like popping a vein in your forehead, trying to imagine that as hard. Like a guy touched
Yes.
this.
And what does that mean to me? And what does that mean to me? And what does that mean to me?
And you can hold it for a blip of a second, the understanding of
instant.
what that
Yes,
could possibly mean,
yes,
and then it
and
goes
it's like,
away and it becomes an abstraction.
Yes,
And
it's
then
gone again.
For a second, you're like, this guy touched this.
It's gone again.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me, the Roman Empire is always like the home base of like, okay, everything's in relation to
Yeah.
like what I remember learning in second and third grade about the Roman Empire, and
funny.
everything
That's
older
funny.
than that is like really, really old, and then everything after that. And
Yeah.
So you see a thing, and you're like, okay, 300 BC. You're like, so Rome was like around.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's right.
Rome was getting off the ground.
Yeah. I also find that, I was raised in an era where people cared about feminism in a traditional sense, men, women, women's rights, in kind of a basic way. We don't really, isn't what we're talking about anymore. But I do find that when I'm in a museum with a bunch of old stuff, I do want to know what was up with the ladies. I'm always like
what were
looking
they
for a
doing?
picture
Yep.
of a lady so I can read the plaque and be like, what is the deal with this lady? And I'm more interested in what the women are doing than what the men are doing. And it just like comes into my mind that anytime there's a picture of a woman, I'm like, what's up? What's up? What's she doing? And I saw one today. It was a picture of a woman and a man. They were both dressed in really fancy outfits, and they were holding like their smiling little baby. And the little description below was like, this is a picture, a painting of these two people and a scene of them in domestic bliss. And the next sentence was like, unfortunately, 2 years after this painting was made, this woman left her husband for her lover. And
But they're characters in a painting.
I know. Listen to this.
They're not real.
I know. And then he got remarried to an actress whose portrait, it said, was somewhere else in the Met,
Whoa.
which was kind of exciting because I was like, oh my gosh, so all these paintings are just about like a little scene. Yeah.
television.
These two were
Yes.
fucking, and then
Yes.
this one.
And then I think we have this massive museum that like has an operating budget of millions and millions of dollars, and it's just focused on this one little like random ass friend group.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? And we're acting with all this reverence about it. But I also thought it was cool because I don't know, you just think of women as like they didn't get anything they wanted, but sometimes they got to leave their husband be with their lover.
Yeah.
Evidently.
And
That
I
is
think they
cool.
all won out because he dated an actress too, which I feel
That's
like is
right.
cool. It's
That's
kind of
cool.
exciting and
That's
glamorous.
cool.
So they both. Sometimes the divorce is good. Sometimes you just have to move on.
Yes. Okay. Kay is saying exactly what I'm thinking. Women's inner life more interesting than any cool plate or cup. That's right. And that's what I'm there to find out about.
Well,
Are
that's
you sure it's not more interesting than the swords section? Are you sure?
A two-handed sword. I see
Yeah.
a two-handed sword. That kind of gives me. That's a way in. Imagining
that's
two
right.
hands on the sword.
It'd be cool if you had to go inside of the Egyptian temple in order to vote. That's where the voting booth was.
that would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I was there with a girl recently, and I just was trying to communicate the way you felt about the inner life of women. That is how I felt about the armors and the swords. And I was trying to communicate to her how excited it made me to see a cool
To see
sword.
that. Yeah.
Oh, hey.
This is something that hasn't happened in a really long time, but Will and Lena are here.
Yeah. While we're
Yeah.
trying to do the podcast.
Yeah.
We switched it to
Yes.
we
That's
switched it to
right.
daytime.
Okay, remember, they can't hear
They can't hear
anything
that.
they say,
Yeah.
so it doesn't really benefit us to interact with you all that much.
Yes. Yes. That loses us views.
So,
You
You're
love
not
it.
mic'd. You're not mic'd.
There's a reason
so-
for all the questions that you ask, though.
Mm-hmm.
To the people on the Twitch, it doesn't look like we're in the dark, right?
Yes, it looks well lit from the screen.
Yeah, but actually, we're kind of in the dark.
And if you're listening on the podcast, imagine us in your mind's eye, well lit. Don't put us in the darkness of your brain. Yes. No, you know what? Sorry, you were saying you were recently there with a woman.
And we were looking at the armors and the sword, and I was like,
This means something to my.
this is so exciting.
Yeah.
Like, this is so cool. But it's
Yeah.
like, you don't care about this.
Yeah.
I was recently there with Gabby too, and we went to that section, and she was pretty into it.
Really?
Yes, but she
Oh.
was most interested in the rooms, which is I think what I was
Mhm.
honestly most interested in, seeing those beds and imagining sleeping on those different.
No, I was
Mhm.
imagining having
beds.
the armor on and the sword and walking around the castle.
Yeah.
I was putting myself in the place of one of those knights.
Yeah.
It's funny because you when you see that stuff, you also do all this sort of like kind of armchair racial theory thinking because you're like,
So I do that.
yeah, you do that.
So
He
okay.
does, but I don't do that. You were pointing at Felipe.
No one does that.
Unspool.
You were saying that Felipe does.
Well,
it.
it's funny. I guess it's an easy kind of thing because it sort of fits into sort of D&D conceptions of like of
Oh, you mean like this is the
different-
elves?
This is like what people. This is the armor of someone from like the Middle East in the 14th century,
I
and
see.
then next to it is like a knight's armor from like the 12th century
Yes.
from Europe, and then you're like meant to kind of look at them and sort of compare them. You can't help but compare and contrast.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
And so, sort of racist theories begin to blossom in your mind.
Well, I don't know.
About-
You know, I don't know about you. I'm not racist,
The
but
different warriors.
one thing that's interesting is that, you know, you think about in fashion silhouettes, right?
Mhm.
Silhouettes change. You go from like, oh, now it's in style is like a really flat silhouette, and now it's in style is very curvy silhouette. You know, different.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with armor. You see like an idea of how to like augment the body so it looks strong.
Mhm.
You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Yes.
Yes.
Like because there's this armor that kind of like is like bowls around the chest and then it comes in, and it's not like, you know, it doesn't like define muscles, but it like creates this like chest feeling. I don't know. That's just kind of interesting to think about.
Yeah.
There's like a fashion. It's like a fashion side of it, or an aesthetic idea.
Some of them are so ornate that you're like, they didn't actually wear it in battle.
Right. Anyways, so
So that's that.
so the Met. How many
You're welcome to
raisins?
probe me on my race theory, Sarah. I know you were uncomfortable about it.
I
Giving
just
me
think
looks.
I'm looking at the samurai outfit. I'm thinking that looks cool. I'm looking at the plate armor. I'm thinking, oh, that looks cool too.
You don't look at it and go, if I were
I'm
playing
racist.
as that character,
I'm looking at this. I'm
If
like,
I-
I'm racist.
if I were a
No.
samurai,
No.
like the samurai mindset is obviously like emblematic in the armor itself, and then you look at the knight and you're like, oh yes, Western Europe. You can see all the sort of design principles of Western Europe in the European armor and stuff like that. And if
No.
they fought in a battlefield in like on a YouTube video, which
Yes,
one
what
would
if
win,
samurais
you know?
fought again? Yeah.
And this is why I'm saying when you go to the gallery, I want you to be focusing more on the inner life of women and what can be discovered about them, because that's not what I'm thinking about.
Sabina's saying BBL armor. It would be cool if some of those armors had a huge ass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was also what's hard about being in the Met and in most museums, you get really preoccupied about the layout. I don't know how you feel as men, because some people say men are better at directions or something. I don't know. If you
Not
want to do
me.
theories.
You can
Yeah.
ask Sam about this.
I feel so lost inside the building. I cannot
Me
understand
too.
where I am oriented in relation to anything I've seen. I was trying to see the Dutch masters all day. I glimpsed them once, and then I went around, and then I could never find that spot again.
What?
And you look out
Yeah.
windows, and the
And there's
windows
windows.
don't orient you at all because
No.
you're looking directly into other buildings,
Yes.
or it's
Or
very
you're looking
maze-like.
back into
Yes.
the building
Yes.
somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, you're above and you're down, and yeah, it's just so confusing the way it's laid out. And it just made me wonder, like, how many people work here actually have a true understanding of how everything is connected. and could just be dropped into any room and be like, oh, I'm over here. I'm in the West Wing, like 3 rooms
Yeah.
deep. Yeah.
Well, another funny experience is going into a museum you've never been before, and then grabbing a map because you're like, I'm gonna need a map to get around, and then you're in the atrium and you open the map and you look at it and you go, Jesus fucking Christ, this is
No
so
point.
big.
There's no
Yeah,
point, so you
I
should just
might as
give
well
up.
Kill myself
Yeah.
now.
You want just
Yeah.
to give up and just be loose in there and see what you see and don't put too much pressure on yourself. Yeah.
Totally.
I wanted to say quickly, it was cool if I changed the subject.
Speak into the mic.
Just to give. No, that's not what I'm gonna say. I told Sarah before this that she needs to speak more into the mic because sometimes she moves the mic around too much. Anyways,
we all do it differently.
we all do it. It's true, but
Yeah.
sometimes you can't hear her, and I thought it's so that we can hear
Yeah.
you more,
Thanks.
and so that we can hear your voice more. Just to give the podcast a little bit of like a present flavor.
Okay.
I saw Triangle of Sadness. I didn't like it. It was bad.
Mm.
Just so that if you're listening, you're like, oh, this was when that
This is
movie
when I was
came
having.
out.
I saw
Mm.
Barbarian. I thought it was good, but it wasn't as good as I thought. Based on like people were being like, it's the most inventive horror movie of the decade.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see it, but it's not that good.
I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was like epoch shifting. It had an interesting structure, and I can see why people are like going off about how good it is because of how they had structured it. But it didn't. It disappointed me a little bit. It didn't quite fulfill it. Yeah, where it seemed to be going. So, but still good.
Damn, I really want to
It's
see
on
it.
HBO Max.
Yeah.
Give it a watch.
And I saw My Own Private Idaho recently.
Really? When?
and- which also just came out.
Wait, when did you see
and
that?
I liked it. Like 2 nights ago.
Just by yourself?
No, with Will and Lena.
What? Where was I?
You were probably out trying to get into a party.
Wait, what night of the week was it? Because I want to see that
Weren't gonna get
movie.
into.
Wait, what night of the week?
I don't know. Sunday?
What?
It was on Sunday.
What was I doing on Sunday?
I don't know, man.
Anyway,
I'm really trying to
I
remember.
on
don't
Sunday, did you come to see Free Time and get drinks with Julia?
That's right. That's
Yep.
what I did.
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't get to see Free Time though.
He didn't get to see Free Time.
Ryan
Anyway,
Martin
now that we're
Brown.
oriented, so
Okay.
at the Met, now we can keep talking about the Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah.
People seem more interested in Barbarian there in the.
I feel like Barbarian. Oh, and if you're in the chat, it's like you can just suggest things. You can just say stuff. We'll react to it. And I know that we have to show by doing, but so we're gonna do that now. I feel
If-
like what's up?
I was going to joke around and say if you want to hear about My Own Private Idaho, skip to minute 47. And if you want to hear about Barbarian, skip to minute 32. But now we're going to talk about Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah.
I feel like Barbarian was in a great position to make a strong commentary about poverty, but it just fell flat at the end. Is that true?
Yeah. So Barbarian set out to make a bunch of comments,
But don't spoil it because I
Yeah.
want to see it.
So there's a theme: violence against women and women's having to be suspicious of men generally in the world. That's in play, and then it's also like, I think this is all known from like the trailer. It takes place at an Airbnb in Detroit, and it's in like a devastated neighborhood of like abandoned houses and scary. And so that's part of the scary vibe, is that they're in this like totally desecrated old neighborhood.
How come they take an Airbnb there? Because like when you get an Airbnb, it's to have a little vacation.
Well, I guess you have this sort of idea that, oh, this person has like bought this as an investment property and turned it into an Airbnb, but the rest of the neighborhood hasn't like caught up yet, and these people are just staying in it, not really knowing the area.
I see.
So, and that doesn't really come to fruition at all. Like,
Oh,
why?
like you
it's,
thought? Oh, I see.
it's like got a scary vibe, but also we're kind of living it. The movie seems smart enough that you kind of think it's going to do something with that in a kind of Jordan Peele style
Uh-huh.
or something, but it doesn't pay that off. It's just like uses it kind of ambiently.
I see.
Yeah. I mean,
Ambient.
I don't know. It maybe makes a suggestion of like, well, there was scary stuff in the neighborhood long before there were poor people living there, Like there's this idea, I guess, that, oh, it's scary because it's like abandoned and full of unhoused people and poor people and people like addicted to drugs or something, that kind of environment. But then you find out that like, well, even before
There's
those
ghosts.
people were there, it was way scarier.
I see.
So what's really scary about America? Is it poor people
Or is it ghosts and
something-
zombies?
Is it ghosts and zombies? Yeah.
I do think it's probably ghosts and zombies.
yeah.
Because ultimately, the poor people are just victims of a system, and the ghosts and zombies
Yeah.
want to kill you.
Sabina says Barbarian set out to make the comment, what if Spooky Monster had enormous boobianas?
Yeah. Well, Sabina and Annabelle at their show that Simpletown performed that said what the final character is, the final boss, and I was like, fuck, I didn't want...
That's
I
funny.
literally, as they were started talking about the movie, I literally almost called out. This is at Union Hall. I literally almost called out.
Don't talk about the movie.
Don't spoil it. But I knew they had a joke planned and it would have
Yeah.
fucked up their whole flow.
Yeah. So
they-
you had to let it go. You
Yeah.
didn't heckle.
You would have been
Yeah.
dragged out of Union Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
Y'all are weak. for
Only
wanting
straight
movies
guy
to
in there?
comment. I'm not. I didn't necessarily need it to, but I don't know. It's kind of upsetting to watch a movie that like takes something like Detroit and the homes being abandoned and the like exploitation of that area, and then just like uses it to be like, isn't that scary? And then doesn't really make anything of it.
Yeah. No, I agree. Movies should... You got to comment. You got to comment. Yeah, Triangle of Sadness starts out good, but then halfway, I don't want to. Should I spoil it? I don't even want to talk about it that much, but I just want to leave.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
alone.
Well, say something, or else you're gonna listen back to the episode and be like,
Let-
I should have just
yeah,
gone
Should've
in.
let
just
me
said
see-
something.
Let me
Yeah.
tee you
Yeah.
up. Let
Please,
me tee
please.
you up. What is the part you want to talk about?
The middle part. Basically, okay, the movie Force Majeure, which I saw, it's great. It's like the tensions bubbling beneath this like middle class relationship, and it takes place at a ski lodge. The first half of Triangle of Sadness, it's kind of like that, like tensions, like there's something rotten underneath the like this wealth, and it's taking place on this boat, and there's funny stuff kind of set up that's like subtle, and then halfway through, out of nowhere, I'm gonna spoil it, so if you don't want to spoil it, just turn it off. Out of nowhere, these Somalian pirates appear, who are literally, you don't even see their faces. They come in and then vanish. They make the ship blow up for no reason. I mean, obviously, I guess to rob it, but you don't see that happening. The ship blows up, and then the whole crew and all the passengers end up on an island, which to me is like so cliche. It's like, because then everything that happened starting on the island felt boring and uninteresting and like not as interesting as like the subtleties. It felt like Lord of the Flies. Like,
Yeah.
what happens when we create like a little microcosm of society? And I was like, I was more
Yeah.
interested in like the other thing, and you didn't invest in it.
That's so funny. I find that really annoying in a movie. I can't think of another good example at the top of my head, but when they like set up a little situation or a world that you're so interested in and want to hear more about, and then they're like take you on a left turn and take you away from everything you thought was interesting and into something that you're like, wait, but I don't care about
I don't care
this.
about
I
this
wanted
thing.
the other thing. Yeah, it's funny. Oh, it makes me think of this play that I saw Peter Mills Weiss in at Jack. What was that called? Did you see that?
But
White
it was,
on White? Is that what it's called?
but it was about like diversity and inclusion.
It was about a white affinity group that meets to talk about race in America.
But they're like they work at the same place, and
No,
they're in
it's
a
just like a group of people who are electing to get together in
I
a
see.
community as white people to read books and discuss race and do the work. Is the idea. And just the way each of the characters is like a different type of white person, and the way their conversations are being like captured through the writing of the script is so funny and real and wonderful. And then in the third act, they just take it on this like crazy absurdist fantasy twist to like do a big ending. And you're like, wait, but I wanted to see how the really realistic, like
Yes.
biting kind of funny world you set up, how does that actually play out? Don't make me go to this other world where I have to see, oh, but what if, science fiction was real and a monster came out of racism and you have to
Yeah.
battle the monster? Like,
Yeah.
it's not exactly what happens, but kind of, yeah. And you're like, oh, you lost the thing that I cared about.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like the stories like I'm gonna grab the subconscious and make it explicit, and it's like, oh, I was more interested in me digging through
Yeah.
and getting the subconscious. I don't
Yes.
need the movie to be like, what if everything that was implicit was now not only explicit but like fantasy or something? It loses. And so that's how it felt.
I need monsters and elves and stuff
In order to
get it.
yeah, otherwise it's right over your head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
See
need
who's
racism.
good, who's evil.
Racism to be depicted as a big monster in order for me to understand that it's bad.
And that it can hurt all of us.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you remember the movie Bright?
No.
Yes.
The one.
the orcs.
It's about
Los
orcs in
Angeles.
LA.
I don't remember that at all.
You remember this?
No, not at all.
This is a movie with Will Smith where he plays a cop, and it was sort of like post Black Lives Matter, and it's like, what if we staged like the current racial discourse as like literal like fantasy races. So there's orcs and they're like the marginalized class, and then there's like elves and they live
That's
in Beverly
crazy.
Hills.
See,
It's pretty bad.
You made fun of me at the Met for like indulging in these sort of race theory stuff. But little do you know that this is going on inside the minds of
Great
every man.
artists. Yeah. Yeah, of every man.
Men read like Lord of the Rings and they're like, this is so cool. What if the world was divided into magical races? And they all had different skills. Yeah.
They made a new one about two people hunting vampires in Los Angeles, and Snoop Dogg is in it.
Who made that?
I think it's still coming out or something, but
I'm not sure.
Wait, what's it called?
I don't know. Type in vampire Snoop Dogg.
Snoop
Just
Dogg.
see what comes up.
Vampire Snoop Dogg movie. Yo, want to watch this real quick? Wait,
Yeah.
John.
Give it a watch.
Day Shift.
Day
It's
Shift?
called Day Shift.
Folks, in the new Raisin Man format, we have 25 minutes left. So just so you're tracking where we are in the episode.
Are you feeling like there's anything we want to get to? Because now we've gone on this little.
Well, I
want
want to say my thing about Barbarian, but I'll say it after we see this, and we'll follow where this takes us.
Okay.
Name of the game says, ah!
It's gonna be a hot one in Los Angeles. So what's on the agenda today?
Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco.
Like every day.
Okay, so he's got a gun and he's in L.A.
What are you doing in my room?
Oh!
Hunting vampires.
Oh, she's a vampire. Oh. What? Wait. What does that mean? The guys who taught John Wick?
I think it must be in the
Place in the
same
John Wick universe?
And they taught John Wick all his stuff.
All right, let's see. Oh my God. What?
Money. Vampire hunting is a business.
This summer,
And cash your checks.
so this must be out.
I see. So
Change since you got
he's kind of like a mercenary that's kind of making ends meet.
Your legs again.
And the union is the only place that can give me that kind of money. Your record is chock full of accidents.
Oh.
But he's a new man. One last chance. This is
He's got one last chance.
Let's get crazy.
Whoa.
Fire's just trying to kill me. Now I just pissed my favorite fucking. Everybody pisses themselves.
Is that James Franco?
No, that's Dave Franco.
No, I didn't. But listen, look, you did.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Jamie Foxx is funny.
They go to the other side.
Oh. I feel like I'm good.
I'm good. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
That
That does look fun, honestly.
So what does that tell us?
about race.
Or about culture?
I was interested.
Was Snoop Dogg in that?
He
Yes.
yes.
He was the cowboy with the long hair.
Got it.
Yeah, I was more interested in the women's interior in that one, sort of the way you feel about the men.
Yes.
But we didn't see them very.
We weren't given the chance.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll-
to know what women in this universe.
I'll say
yeah.
this. This feels very kind of related to Bright. Like I'm sure that in fact there was some conversation in Netflix about the similarities. And what I will say is this looks like it's leaning less into like overwrought world building and more into like fun stunts.
Totally.
And like
Mm.
light comedy, where Bright was just too filled with mythology.
Totally. Yes. Well, but in Bright, I think Bright is probably a more interesting movie. We should honestly watch it. You and Will and I or something. Not you, Sarah.
I saw it.
You would enjoy it.
I wrote when it came out, I like wrote a little review of it. Like
Really?
a little analysis of it. Yeah.
Oh.
For the school newspaper?
No, just I made a Substack and I wrote it and then I deleted it because I was like, this isn't really what I'm trying to do. But I had a take on
you
it.
don't even be confused about what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had a whole take.
I
It's
still,
got a
I should see it.
Substack where you
I
wrote a
should
little
see it.
review of Bright.
Yeah.
He's an animator.
Yeah.
Weird.
Wait, so say what you were gonna say about Barbarian.
So, the beginning, I'll say the beginning, this doesn't really ruin anything. A woman shows up at an Airbnb that she's renting, and the key's not there, and then there's a guy already inside who's like, I reserved this. And they both realize that they have both reserved this Airbnb at the same time, and it's like the middle of the night, and it's raining, and they're in this scary neighborhood. So she's kind of like obviously kind of suspicious of this guy, but decides to like stay at the Airbnb with him anyway for that night. And
That's a great setup.
it's a great setup. And so that's like kind of the opening sequence is all about this, what's happening there. And it's very scary. And I love or not even very scary, but it's great suspense.
Because then you think that's kind of what I would do. It doesn't feel contrived.
It doesn't feel
It feels
contrived at all.
believable that if that happened.
It's such a believable situation that's like awkward, a little bit scary. You know, it's a horror movie, so you're like sus on this guy, and yeah, this weird little house that you don't really understand the interior of, and there's these different doors, and yeah, it's scary. But then structurally, you know, that arrives at like a scary payoff, and then we cut away to like a whole other character. Then Justin Long enters, whole other story that's going to connect back later,
I
but
see.
like we go somewhere else, and then that goes for a while, and then we go somewhere else to another story that then relates.
Really?
So
3
it's-
stories.
Yes, that are all like connected to this one thing, and it's just like good structurally, rather than it being like, okay, we're in this scary house, something a little weird happens, then something a little weirder happens, then finally something really scary happens,
Yeah.
and it's over. It's like it gives you scary stuff in different measures at different places,
Yes.
so it just kind of like is a good innovation structurally to not get you bored immediately by.
Totally.
Yeah.
And also a perfect horror innovation structure because horror is all about like suspense.
Yes.
Once the scary thing has actually happened
And you see the
sca-
monster
the
or-
monster and
yeah.
stuff, your curiosity is sated. You know what
Yes.
it looks like.
Yes.
You know everything about it, and it's hard to be scared again. But then to jump cut backwards in time
Yes.
or
to a time where you hadn't seen the monster yet, and you
Yes.
forget.
And you're not
and then
even scared.
and then deliver the slow paced build up again is like smart.
Yes, totally. So that's a cool thing about it. Oh, I'm sorry. That's apparently is a big spoiler, but that's what's interesting about the movie.
That's okay. Who knows if I'll watch it?
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was good. I'll also say this: I think this isn't a spoiler because it's about something that doesn't happen. So the movie's kind of about violence against women. It is, but they don't actually show women being done horrible things to, which I think is cool to do.
Interesting. So it's
Because
kind
they're
of
not like
Cool
exploiting.
to not show.
It's cool to not show
Right.
because it's like I think sometimes movies when they use violence, sexual violence, especially against women, as something scary without really like earning it creatively or in the plot of the movie, they're just like exploiting something horrific that's already like scary in the
Right.
world and using it for their benefit. But in this, it's like it's using it, but it's not like re-exploiting, I don't know, that kind of violence in a way
Right.
that feels like harmful or yeah.
right. They're like,
So-
in order for you to realize that it's bad, we have to show you how bad it is.
Yeah.
But you're saying like, no, you don't need to do that.
You don't even need to do it. They can like be creative and use the horror of that thing without sort of being re-traumatizing. Yeah.
That's interesting. A spoiler in negative. A thing that doesn't happen in the movie.
Yeah.
And now I can kind of fill in around the movie. You did spoil it in a sense.
In a sense, but through the negative space.
But
yeah.
the negative, yeah, it's about the notes that you don't play. I don't know when you see the room with the gross bed.
You know what's going on there, but you don't see it.
Sometimes though, I remember being a child and being they're suggesting like a violence against a character,
It's more disturbing.
and they cut away before it happens,
Yeah.
and that sometimes as a child really stuck with me. Where I'm like, what happened? Or like, I mean, I know what happened, but now I'm forced to imagine what happened, and the movie ended 3 hours ago, and I'm still having to like think about that scary scene.
rather than it just being like, it was this.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
see, did you see Funny
exactly.
Games?
Yes.
It has a really harrowing moment of just that, where a child is shot,
Yeah.
and you don't see it happening, but you see sort of like the blood on the wall and like the kid's legs in the corner of the room, and then the mom like seeing it, but you don't see the actual thing happening.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Horrific. It's quite horrific, actually. Probably more on the end of showing you the violence than on the end of not showing.
Yes, it sounds like they kind of
That's
show it to you.
closer to showing
Yeah.
than not showing. Yeah. Anyways, we could turn on a light. I know that it's going to make the video look worse, but I do feel like It's dark.
Yeah, well, it makes us sleepy. Even though it looks bright in the room, we are sleepy.
Could you turn that light on, Sarah?
Yeah.
Let's see what that does.
My
Could you
sweater
turn
is
that light on, Sam?
destabilizing because it's crocheted. Hey, Peter. Peter's in Amsterdam, and he's in the chat. Peter, I just talked about White on White, so it's weird that you're here because you don't usually
White on
listen,
White.
and I think you missed it.
That's kind of like what this podcast
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's true. Let's see.
What else is up?
I feel quite excited with my work.
Yo,
I'm like working on 3 things at the same time.
Yo.
And I'm like hopeful about all of them. Just not even that they're going to give me anything, but that I think they're all 3 of them things that I'm passionate about and that I'm excited for.
Check
That
this,
rules.
check this text out that I just got.
What?
I get these like spam texts all the time. I'm really speechless. I waited for you in Starbucks for 3 hours while your phone was off. Why you didn't show up? Now give me an explanation. Isn't that crazy?
Do you think that might be someone that you did stood up?
No.
Just-
I didn't have plans to meet anybody at a Starbucks.
Just think about it though. It might be someone that you did stand up.
Yeah. Huh.
Maybe you made the plan like pretty far in advance.
Yeah, like
Forgot about
a
it.
year or
Yeah.
2 ago, for sure.
Yeah.
I should text back, sorry.
Yeah.
I should text back,
I'm curious what the scam is.
Yeah.
me too.
totally.
It's an interesting way to start a scam. I'm going to text back a memoji with a pig, and it's winking.
Yeah. Hey. Or you know the hog that's his head is exploding. You know the one?
The hog's head exploding, yeah. Or a dinosaur giving the peace sign.
Yeah. I remember one time I got hit up by a scammer and I was like, oh, it would be funny. You know how when people do that thing where they like string the scammer along and make them do funny stuff? And I got bored right away.
Yeah. Yeah, you're hoping that there's a stand-up bit that comes out of it, but
It wasn't so
it's a
interesting.
lot of work. It's a lot of work.
One of our chatters has got an idea that they want you to text back anything so they can verify your number and sell it to other scammers.
Did you text back?
No,
No,
I
he
didn't
deleted
text
it.
back.
Oh, that's good. Oh, okay, that's
Huh.
good to know.
Thank you,
Interesting.
Napoleon blown apart.
That's funny.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Damn, so you feel really good about your work? How long do you think that feeling will take you, last you?
That's a good question.
Through Christmas?
Hopefully through Christmas. Definitely. I have work. I have a lot of work. Just a little advertising for myself. I'm trying to post on my Patreon again. So if people
I saw that.
if people want to like start signing up, I have some ideas of things I want to post. I just am like haven't made good money in a minute, and I think it would be nice to just get that rolling.
I
again.
saw that and I felt this happiness in my heart that you had just decided to do it again without asking me whether or not, oh, should I do my Patreon
Really?
again?
That's the kind of
Oh.
thing I would ask you
Yeah.
about.
Oh, is it corny if I do this, or is it a good idea, or like I
Wow.
don't know? And I would just be like, oh, I don't know if you want to do it. Yeah. So I was like, great, he's just gonna do it.
Wow.
That's so funny
Yeah.
that that's the story in your head because
Yes.
that didn't even occur to me.
To
It's like-
check in about it.
Yeah, it's like so far from.
It's none of my business.
You're
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, what kind of guy would do that? What kind of guy
Kinda
would like
lame.
text you like every thought that they have and worry that's going through their mind?
It's true.
Yeah, I guess I just really don't like when people ask my like. It's not that I really don't like it, but when people ask for advice on something where you're like, I really have no opinion about that, and I don't know, it just feels kind of like impotent or something for me. Or I'm like, yeah, well, you could or you couldn't. In some ways, it could be good. In some ways, it could be bad.
Yeah.
Like I don't like giving that kind of.
It's the hardest
response.
thing to fake, like fake an
Yes.
answer because you really don't care about it either way. But also not caring
No, I
looks
care. I
like-
care.
looks like coarse or something, you know, so you don't want to come off that way.
Yes, when really it's not that I don't care, but I'm just totally neutral. I love you whether you have the Patreon or not.
Well,
But I'll subscribe.
I don't know if I'll keep. I just kind of want to see what happens if I keep posting. I thought about doing like little tutorials. Sometimes when I was
Hell yeah.
young and starting animating, I wanted to see tutorials. Maybe I'll make some tutorials.
I love your tutorials, the ones you made for how to work After Effects. It's an hour long, but it's so fun to like hear your friend's voice in your head as you're like trying to navigate a computer.
That's funny.
You know,
Yeah.
There you go.
I would do a tutorial on this. What is Blender? People are always saying it, but what is
Who's
it?
talking about Blender?
On Twitter, people tweet about it.
Really?
But what is it?
It's a 3D software.
There you go.
So you would just do the tutorial
Yep.
that answers that question. Fair enough.
Just so I can know. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just am feeling good, and it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I get this feeling that's like gritted teeth, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I'm
Yes.
like, something, but it's like, it's just like anticipation or a feeling of like when people get this. It's just this abstract, like gritted teeth feeling. And I'm like, something's like close, but
That's good, what you're describing? I'm confused. I thought you were on a good tip.
it is
Yeah.
good. It is
No.
good. It's like a
Okay.
kind of
The
excitement.
strain.
Okay, you're like,
yeah.
This like strain
gonna
that's
end soon.
yeah, but I don't
Gritting
know.
my teeth.
But then nothing fucking happens.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. Nothing. It's like you put it out, and then it just like, oh well, you gotta put out 50 more things and one thing every day, and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to moderate your energy or get the story right for what's happening in your head with your work so that you don't become disappointed when it like takes too long. You know, you have to have the appropriate timeline about like, okay, I'm in the beginning. Now I'm in the middle. Now it's okay to be excited because now I'm near the end, you know? And if your story is like fucks up or isn't doesn't align with reality, you can really, really sink yourself into sadness.
well, you know what it is too. It's like the way that I work is through this like feedback loop of like reward, where every time I post a new piece, it's like a little juice.
You get
It
some,
gives me
some
juice.
tokens. Yeah.
And so I like, that's why I have Little Edie, which I post 3 times a week. And then I have these 3 animations and they're all at different points of being done. And then we have this podcast, which I put out all the time. And it's like a little like an addiction in the sense that it's like, it's got to keep coming or else I'm going to start feeling like bad. But it like sort of fixes the problem you're saying, which is
Mhm.
like, well, there's always something coming out.
Yeah.
This reminds me of being at the Met today in the Asia wing,
Uh-huh.
and there are so many statues of Buddha heads or like Jainism, similar, you know, statues of person cross-legged in meditation posture. And just thinking about like, well, they were really in ancient times already on a tip about how we shouldn't be oriented around reaching anything other than just like discovering inner peace and happiness just in being alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that actually seems like a really contemporary thing to me, because maybe it is sort of like in Western culture, because in Western religion, you're really oriented around like winning, going to heaven, and like being punished for doing bad things and like all of this. And I was just like looking around being like, man, people have known for a long time that if you're in constant pursuit
empty
of sort
road.
of worldly successes and objects, it's an empty road. Yeah.
So
But I
are
still
you
think-
saying that I'm in an empty road?
Yeah, but I think you can still be happy because I think
Mhm.
you have a lot of talent, so you might be able to keep getting enough juice.
How do you
Yeah,
feel
for
about
a
your
long time.
How do you feel about your own road?
I love working at Big Reuse.
You're a big reuse now. yeah?
Yep. And I just got 3 Big Reuse T-shirts, so that's kind of exciting. And yeah, I don't know. I feel good.
You feel good about your road.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. I've definitely been like, I've been trying to turn off my phone during the day. Trying to not look at it.
You should have gotten this Starbucks text.
Yeah, that would have gotten your ass.
Yeah. But I think there's some truth to what you're saying. I'm not ready to give up on the idea that I want to be making art all the time.
No.
Like I don't think I'm there yet at that level of enlightenment. But definitely want to be at a place where I'm not looking at my phone all the time. And that feels connected.
Totally. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that I think that making art is pointless, but it's just makes sense why you can get into a mindset suddenly where you're like, oh, and if I just do this, I'll get this thing out of it. And then you kind of arrive at that thing and you're like, okay, now what am I going to do? Do another thing, get another thing out of it. But that does work to some extent. So
I think there's a right amount of resting on your laurels, like enjoying your what you've achieved and trying to achieve and like effort towards it. But I've had experiences in my life where I'm like just enjoying myself, not trying to like work hard at all towards something. And that too, I think, has its limit in ways.
Oh, totally.
You know,
Yeah.
you
Just like
obviously
being
know
at
this.
peace and then looking at the sunrise. Or
Right,
whatever,
exactly.
Yeah.
That can get really,
that can really get old. Yeah.
totally maddening.
Enjoying drinking a glass of wine and
Maddening.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're saying that,
mindfully eating cheese. Yeah.
yeah. So you're saying it's all about a balance.
There's got to be some sort of balance, and you have to know what it is, and maybe it's different for different people.
That's
No.
right, Sarah. It's different for
No.
me than it is for you.
No.
Don't be coming to me about
No.
Jainism
No.
already tells you that you shouldn't
No.
be making little Eddies.
No, there's one way. That's the best way. And if all people did it, that would be the best for us all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, so did you have things to say about the election day?
No.
Oh.
No.
This-
I
there's
haven't
a
been
guy-
following the news.
There's a guy that everyone's freaked out about who wants to be governor.
Yeah, Lee Zeldin.
What's his deal?
He's conservative. Yeah,
What
he
the
wants to like ban
hell?
abortion, but people say that even though the governor, even if we had a Republican governor who wanted to do that, he wouldn't be able to achieve that.
Governor of the
Yeah.
state?
The governor of our state, in New York, because we have so many Democrats in Congress in our state.
Has New York ever had a conservative governor?
I'm sure.
For sure.
Wait, for sure?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Someone in the
well,
chat, tell us.
Someone in the chat.
Yeah.
School Felipe.
Yeah, I have not been listening to the news, but my roommate Peter has continued listening to the news, and he said to me that on a national level, this election will make it so that none of our future elections are real. Like
How so?
that once the Republicans like take over both houses of Congress at this midterm, I guess just that they will gerrymander and limit people's ability to vote to such a degree that like their voting will not like occur
Damn.
in the United States in a
Wait,
way that represents the public interest. Don't ask me interrogatory questions. I said I haven't listened to the news. That's what Peter
This is
told
just
me.
the
Yes.
I see, I see,
I see.
So
Huh.
take that at face value and react or
Huh.
don't.
Yeah.
That's confusing to me.
Why is it confusing to you?
Because I guess I thought maps are redrawn every 10 years, right? Because the census happens every 10 years. But I thought that was this past cycle. That
Yeah.
happened.
What do you think about that, Sarah?
I don't know. That's what Peter told me. Yeah, he said that this is going to set it up so that every elections from now moving forward is a sham.
Well, the New York Times keeps telling me that democracy is on the line.
Yes, that's what Peter's saying.
The
as well.
democracy's on.
People
Yeah.
are juiced. Every midterm election, or every election really, it's like the juice gets higher and higher on the news. Like the stakes, they keep juicing it up more and more and more. And here, I'm just like, guys, what is going? Like, if I were really tuned into the news, I would be freaking
Totally.
out all
Yeah.
the time, and like, no wonder like like your parents are just crazy when you talk to them. I sound like such an idiot. I'm partly playing a character, but like
Yeah.
it really
You're
is.
playing it's a funny character too.
Thank you.
Can you do a little voice while you do it?
But yeah, it's just like you do. It's a stupid thing to realize as an adult, but if you listen to the news a little less, you are like a lot more relaxed.
It's true.
Yeah. So see? So I have one thing right. Okay, I work hard,
Yeah.
but I don't listen to the news and
Yeah.
I don't think about social
Yeah.
issues. And you do.
Sure.
So we have different things
We
that
have
make us
different things.
suffer, Sarah.
Yeah, I really didn't mean to bring up the thing about the Met as a way to be like.
I took it very personally.
Yeah.
Especially after you said that I check in with you when I make my Patreon.
Yeah.
So then I thought there's some sort of thing Sarah's getting at. There's like
No
a bigger
way.
story
No
Sarah's
way.
getting at.
That's not true.
Yeah, you're getting at
No,
a bigger story.
That's not true. I don't think that about art. And
Are you leading me to any enlightened like moments, or is it just Felipe?
I don't feel like I'm leading anybody anywhere.
Okay.
But yeah. Or that I'm even like in pursuit of that myself. To me, that kind of like spirituality in my own life has been so like distorted by the American version of like what it means to be like holistic and spiritual that it's like not very interesting to me.
Well, did I tell
That's
you about
right.
when when I first moved here, I went to the Brooklyn Buddhism Center because I was having a lot of anxiety and I thought, oh, maybe I should just check this thing out. And are you guys looking at something on the
Sorry,
Reading the
keep going.
comments. Yeah.
Keep going. I'm looking at you.
and the guy was like, you can't, sorry if I've said this on the podcast already, stop me if I have, but the guy was like, you can't just meditate. It's got to be the whole philosophy, like the whole Buddhist philosophy. He's like, there's all this mindfulness stuff right now. but that's not enough. You have to have the whole philosophy. And he's like, the whole philosophy is like, our world is an illusion, and like, you know, desire
Yeah.
is suffering, and da 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 da. And he was saying stuff, and I was thinking, well, everybody here, you know, it was like in like Lefferts Garden, you know, it was like in some like bougie neighborhood, and I was like, well, everybody here probably works pretty hard and is pretty bought into the American dream. They'll probably have little work from home jobs, and they're like strivers. And I was like, how can you square those two things? Like, maybe this made sense when Buddhism was invented, that you could be like, let me just not get out of the rat race. And I'm like, now in New York City and Brooklyn, no way. And the guy was like, well, he's like, and then he, as if he was reading my mind, he said, and you might think, well, if we have this philosophy, then how do we like make sure that we're like working hard for the things that we want? And he was like, well, you can still do that. Like, you can still do those things. And he couldn't answer the tension. He was just like, we can do both. We can chill out, and then also we can not desire things, and then we can desire things. And I was like, this is a big problem. You're not giving me an answer. You're just trying to make it make sense for us, but it just doesn't make sense.
You don't think it
doesn't.
can be both?
I think you can like meditate and like have some perspective on your life, but I'm also like, how can you have a life that's all about like reaching certain milestones and working hard for like X, Y, and Z when
You desire nothing. And
and also have a
Yeah.
life that's all about seeing that like desire is suffering and that you shouldn't desire anything? Feels like a contradiction to me.
Yeah. I don't know what they would say. Probably like, I mean, because you can't imagine someone who has some kind of like enlightened sense of spirituality actually giving you a prescriptive answer that if they said it to you verbally would make sense as a specific instruction to live your life. Like, obviously anyone who's going to give you any kind of like spiritual guidance is going to like create some kind of puzzle that then your life would be navigating the exploration
I
of
see.
like what that would look like or mean.
So you're saying to even take it that literally would be to misunderstand the purpose of
Yes.
the injunction.
Yes.
Like, it's actually to navigate.
Yes, that tension.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be a big believer that you actually can be two things at once. You can strive and also understand that it brings you harm, you know, and adopt a mindset where you're like, well, this doesn't actually matter, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I think like I remember my dad dying and like cleaning up his house and simultaneously experiencing like both how sad this was and also how funny and bizarre it was, like all at the same time. And I can like both laugh at it and also like be brought to immense like sadness by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I get to like, oh, I want to like make television. I can understand in one sense how like that is like what I've built my entire like living situation of this part of my life around, and how it is in a sense one of the most important things for me. And also I can see how it doesn't actually matter.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what he said? He said that when you want to find out what someone believes, don't look at what they say that they believe. Look at their actions.
Fuck, he says
So
that
your
too.
action. So it doesn't matter what you believe.
So it
Sam.
doesn't even matter what you just said. Doesn't even matter.
Wow.
Yeah.
we're at the hour.
Yeah. Well, I'll say one more thing about meditation because we started a couple minutes late. That I
Please.
remember when I worked for Sounds True, I was like listening to an interview with some man who I think he'd been either a successful businessman or a scientist or some job where he was working crazy 16-hour days. Decided he wanted to start living a spiritual life and to become like a meditation person, and he like mastered mindful meditation and was sitting for like many hours each day, feeling extremely present in the moment and like really experiencing what he believed to be the height of like the purpose of meditation. And then he had this realization one day that he was like, oh, but I've been pursuing meditation in a way that's like I'm trying to become the Jedi master
No.
of meditation.
Oh, no. So
I'm
you have
trying to
to
be the
chill
Wolf
out.
of Wall Street of meditation.
Wow, you have to chill out.
So I still haven't done it because I haven't chilled out because I'm trying to.
Damn.
Yeah, and you just have to truly be nothing. And I just hear that, and I'm like, I don't want to be in pursuit of being nothing. That sounds crazy.
Because then you're in pursuit of being nothing. You're the Wolf of Wall Street of
You're
not
fucking
wanting
worth
to
the
be the
Wall Street of
best.
nothing. Yeah. So that just is like too much. I just want to pursue something. Yeah. But I think maybe, yeah, it's good as long as you're enjoying your process of your art making. Then what else is there?
Wait, someone did ask this in the comments, and I want to. What is this rotisserie chicken man?
What is rotisserie chicken man? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
He went viral. He lives in Philly.
It
I
looks-
guess.
He lives in Philly.
I don't know what it is. I kind of know a little bit. He eats a rotisserie chicken every day. I don't
Oh.
I don't know if this was like, over tweets or like how the
word got
concept
out.
how the word got out or how the concept was kind of like executed.
Yeah.
But then he ate a whole rotisserie chicken in front of a crowd in Philly, and I looked at that and I was like, I'm glad I do not live in Philadelphia. This is chopped.
Yeah. You can see that every damn day in New York City living with
Yeah.
me.
That's true.
That's true.
Your
Yeah.
roommate.
Yeah.
And that's not even your main thing. that
Yeah,
you do.
exactly.
That's just
I'm not trying to go viral with that shit.
Yeah,
That's
that's
just how I live.
incidental.
Do you
Yeah.
regret not having filmed yourself eating the thing you eat every day and making a funny weird meme about
Yeah,
it?
that's funny.
No, I don't. But maybe if it could have turned into a television show. Yeah, no, it is weird. And seeing all the people around him, all those like Philly guys around him, I was like, wow, Philadelphia is like the perfect like zone for this type of guy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
You
yes.
know, it's like the great maw in the earth from which all this type of guy like springs forth from.
Carly
Yeah,
Carly
people are
was
bored
like,
in
wait,
Philly.
Carly said a funny thing. She said
Someone said in the chat.
it was for annoying pilled people in Philly. That's true.
That's funny.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, that's the
Thanks for
hour
listening.
of the new hour-long format. Comment on the Apple Podcasts if you like the hour-long format.
Or if you wish we had another 30 minutes to go.
Have a good one.
Raisin Man Arena.